So, the AYANEO 3, okay? Could this actually be the handheld to beat in 2025? You see, I've got 5 reasons why it might be, and one pretty big catch. And no, it's not about the price, okay? Alright, first up is the modular control. Now, this is a big one. Look, I've tested a ton of handhelds, okay? Ergonomics is super critical. It can totally make or break the experience of your device. It's not just about how the device curves into your palms. See, the button and the joystick placement is huge, often overlooked. What's comfortable for one person's thumb reach can actually be a stretch, like literally, for someone else. And with most handhelds, you actually stuck without layout forever. And this is where the AYANEO 3 gets interesting, because you can swap and rotate control modules to any style you want: Xbox, PlayStation, and even the Steam Deck. This means adjusting for hand size, thumb reach, even specific game genres like fighters or FPS. They are claiming up to 56 total configuration, and that's a lot. So it's not just for looks, okay? It's about practical comfort and usability. Extra modules is going to cost you more, but even with the default that came with the device, you still have this flexibility. Now, the next point has to do with the OculLink port. Now, this often flies under the radar, but it's a big deal. It's actually the key reason I lean towards this device over something like the One X Fly F1 Pro, which sticks to USB 4 at a similar price point. USB 4 is actually fine. It's fast, versatile, supports hot swapping, reverse charging, all this good stuff, right? But for eGPUs, OculLink is on a different level. USB 4 hits around 40 GB per second, which sounds like a lot, but here's the catch, okay? That bandwidth is actually shared. Power delivery, display output, data transfer, when it's all fighting for the same pipe, things get choked. And that's why eGPUs over USB 4 can see a hefty performance hit, like 30 to 50%. OculLink, on the other hand, is a dedicated PCIe Gen 4 link. Think almost 4 times the bandwidth for your GPU. Results: lower latency, fewer bottlenecks, and noticeably better FPS with an eGPU. So USB 4 for convenience, OculLink for raw performance. Now, the AYANEO 3 gives you both flexibility of USB 4 and the power for OculLink, and that's smart and I would say good future proofing. Now, the third reason has to do with the bypass charging on this device, which is actually underrated but makes a tangible difference. Here's the thing: the AYANEO 3 has a 49 watt-hour battery, not massive. Honestly, I was hoping for more, but with demanding games, especially AAA titles, you'll likely be plugged in a fair bit, right? Normally, with a powerful chip like the Ryzen AI 9 HX370, gaming while charging means extra heat, battery stress, and faster degradation over time. Now, bypass charging actually changes that. Power goes straight to the system, not through the battery, which is going to produce less heat, better long-term battery health, and that is really smart. Now, the fourth reason has to do with the display options. Now, instead of one screen to rule them all, AYANEO actually offer a choice. There's an LCD with VRR 120Hz and 500 nits version. Then there's an OLED, which I'm using right now, with 144Hz, 800 nits of brightness, but no VRR. So why not OLED with VRR? Yeah, I get it, it's technically possible, but from a product strategy perspective, an OLED with VRR might cannibalize the other options. So they actually splitted the feature, giving each model a clear advantage. You want super smooth, stable refresh rate, LCD with VRR is your pick. Love those deep blacks, contrast and vibrant colors, go OLED. And this OLED, it looks fantastic. Honestly, with a display like this, I'm actually not gonna miss VRR at all. The contrast, the colors, the brightness, it's incredibly immersive. Now, the fifth point has to do with the display size and the weight. You see, after using a bunch of these devices, it's actually clear that screen size really dictates the overall feel of the device. This might actually be a hot take, but after testing in various scenarios, I think around 8 inches is a sweet spot, like on the Legion Go S, but 7 inches is still very good. At 7 inches, 1080p resolution looks great. Good pixel density means sharp, clean visuals without needing, crazy high resolutions. Now, when you go much bigger than 7 or 8 inches, it starts feeling less like a handheld and more like a tiny monitor with controls. Kinda defeats the purpose of portability for me. Bigger screen also means more weight, more heat, more battery drain, and I saw that with the One X Player X1, which has beautiful screens but hefty and always gets warm all the time. The AYANEO tray at this size feels light, balanced, and compact. You can hold it for hours without, feeling any fatigue in your palms. But if you really need a bigger screen, I would say just get a portable monitor, like something about 10 or 13-inch monitor. Okay, before you talk about the catch, I want to touch a little bit about the pricing. Now, this is where I know AYANEO can make people really hesitate. It's definitely positioned itself as premium, and yeah, my review unit isn't cheap. But here's the thing, they have multiple configuration. It's not a one-size-fits-all price tag, and this actually makes it more accessible than it might seem. So if you want a top-tier Ryzen AI 9 chip, they have it. If you need something more budget friendly, like the last gen Ryzen 7 8840U paired with a 16 gigs of RAM or 32 gigs of RAM, they also have it. And those chips, they are just from last year and they are very much capable. But most importantly, you actually get the same modular controls, the Wukong port, and overall design regardless of the chip that you have on the inside. Alright, so what's the catch? Okay, it's not a hardware and it's not a price, like I said, and it's not the design, but it actually has to do with the customer support and the after-sales services. I actually saw this in the comments in the previous video that I make, concerns about AYANEO support, and I did some digging, and yeah, there are definitely reports of issues, especially with hardware problems and warranty claims. To be fair, this isn't unique to AYANEO. Many smaller tech brands, particularly from this region, struggle with this. Even bigger players like ASUS have had their support issues spotlighted by creators, which eventually led to improvement. Hopefully AYANEO takes the same steps to fixing this, because as we all know, the handheld market is booming, and with giants like Microsoft and Asus in the game, companies like AYANEO need solid support to compete, especially at these prices. Premium product demands premium support. Spending $1,000 on a device only to get ghosted when there is a problem, that's not okay. I suspect AYANEO knows this. They've made a really impressive device here, but in 2025, brand reputation is huge. Innovation is great, but if support is lacking, people will opt for a more reliable experience elsewhere. My particular unit has been fine so far, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. If I encounter issues, you guys are going to be the first to know about it, okay? And I'm also going to be doing some follow-up, videos and posts later on this channel. So, is this the top handheld for 2025 right now? For me, I'm gonna say yes, it's up there. You look at the modularity, Wukong bypass charging, screen choices, the 7-inch size, and flexible pricing. It's more than just another Windows handheld. It feels like a device that really, listens to what users want. It's not perfect, no device is, but it's very, very close. The overall experience is impressive, even considering the cost. If you are considering it, hopefully this video actually gives you a clearer picture of this device. So that's it for this one. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.